This video is about Ra fights Serpent of Chaos about Pharaoh's prayer fails. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. In a time long forgotten, when the sun was a golden chariot driven across the sky by the mighty Ra, the world was a tapestry of gods and mortals intertwined in a dance of destiny. The land of Kemet thrived under his unwavering light, and the Nile flowed like a ribbon of life, nurturing all that it touched. Yet, lurking in the shadows was a force that threatened to unravel the very fabric of creation, a serpent born from the primordial void, Apep, the Serpent of Chaos. Apep, with scales darker than the obsidian night, coiled beneath the surface of the world, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Each night, as Ra journeyed through the underworld, Apep would rise, attempting to swallow the sun and plunge the world into eternal darkness. The gods trembled at the serpent's wrath, for they knew that if Apep succeeded, chaos would reign supreme, and life would be snuffed out like a flickering flame. In the great city of Wasit, where the pyramids sliced the heavens, Pharaoh Khufu ruled with wisdom and strength. His heart was steadfast, yet in the silence of the night he could hear the whispers of fear. The priests spoke of Apep's resurgence, and the pallor of dread draped over the land like a shroud. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped into the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson, Khufu summoned the high priest Hormheb. "Great Hormheb, the sun sets, but my heart is heavy," Khufu declared, his voice trembling with the weight of responsibility. "The prophecies speak of a dire reckoning. The serpent grows restless." Hormheb, his face a mask of contemplation, nodded solemnly. "Pharaoh, the gods have forbidden us from confronting Apep directly. It is said that only a pure prayer can shield Ra during his nightly journey." Khufu's brow furrowed with determination. "Then we shall pray with a purity unmatched, gather the priests, and call upon the gods. We will invoke the sacred words that have brought us peace for millennia." As the moon ascended, casting silver light upon the sand, the great temple of Ammon became a beacon of hope. Thousands gathered, their voices rising like incense toward the heavens. Khufu stood at the altar, hands clasped, heart thundering against his chest. "Though Ra, greatest of the gods, protect us from the jaws of chaos, we humble ourselves before you. Grant us your light." But as his words echoed, an unseen force curled around the temple, a darkness that thickened the air and snuffed the flame of the oil lamps. The crowd gasped, for the shadows were alive, swirling, twisting into the form of Apep. The serpent's eyes glowed with malevolence, twin embers igniting the terror in their hearts. "Foolish mortals," Apep hissed, his voice like the rustling of dry leaves. "Your prayers are of no consequence. The dawn shall not rise upon you again." With a flick of his monstrous tail, the serpent shattered the temple's sanctity. Prayers turned to screams as the earth trembled beneath them. Khufu rose, fear igniting his courage. "We will not yield," he shouted, but the serpent's laughter echoed in the void, cold and merciless. In the celestial realm, Ra, the sun god, felt the tremors of the chaos below. His heart raced, not with fear, but with fury. "Apep dares challenge me once more," he thundered, summoning the winds of the heavens. "I shall descend and confront that wretched being, for my light must prevail." With a blaze of brilliance, Ra hurled himself across the sky, transforming into a golden falcon, his wings piercing through the darkened clouds. Amidst the chaos, he could sense the despair coating the hearts of his followers. He descended, illuminating the shadows, golden rays cutting through the encroaching darkness. Just as the first rays of dawn began to pierce the veil of night, Apep charged towards Ra, the two titans clashing in a cataclysm of celestial fury. The earth cracked beneath them, and the sky sang with the chorus of their battle. Apep coiled around Ra, trying to squeeze the light from him, while Ra retaliated, unleashing bolts of scorching sunlight that sliced through Apep's scales. "Your chaos shall end today," Ra roared, his voice echoing through the cosmos. The very stars seemed to shiver at the power unleashed between them. "You shall be banished once more to the abyss from whence you came." Yet Apep laughed, a sound tainted with malice. "You may shine, Ra, but I am the darkness that awaits. I am inevitable." With every clash, the very fabric of creation trembled. Ra summoned the spirits of the righteous, the divine warriors who had fallen in eternal struggle against darkness. From the skies, they emerged brave souls forged in valor, their spirits entwined with Ra's light. They charged alongside him, striking at Apep with weapons forged from starlight. But even united, the serpent was relentless. Apep unleashed a torrent of chaos, shattering the spirits into fragments of despair. The land trembled as the battle raged on, the screams of the fallen echoing in the wind. Pharaoh Khufu, witnessing the clash of the titans from the ruins of his temple, felt a surge of desperation. Ra, you must prevail, he cried, his voice a mixture of agony and hope. We have faith in you. Don't let the darkness consume us. The struggle continued, Ra's golden aura flickering as Abet tightened his grip. The serpent's breath was like winter's chill, sapping Ra's strength. Yet the sun god remembered the prayers of his people, the united pleas that once forged an unbreakable bond between mortals and gods. With a fierce determination, he called upon that bond. By the strength of every soul who has ever prayed for light, I will not falter. Ra declared, his voice resonating through the heavens. He summoned the last remnants of his divine power, channeling it through his wings, illuminating the battlefield in an explosion of brilliance. In that moment, the serpent recoiled, blinded by Ra's incandescent fury. A wave of light surged forth, washing over the land, illuminating the very essence of life. Apep rioted, shrieking in pain, and for a fleeting moment victory seemed within grasp. But then, in an act of desperation, Apep unleashed a final, catastrophic strike. Dark tendrils erupted from his form, snaking towards the temple, ensnaring Khufu. Your prayers are meaningless, he roared, pulling the pharaoh into an abyss of chaos. Meth? Ra screamed, but it was too late. The serpent yanked Khufu from the realm of the living, and as the pharaoh disappeared, the light within Ra dimmed. The god felt a piece of his heart shatter with the loss of mortal life extinguished, a connection severed. As the last echoes of battle faded, Ra was left alone, the sun rising weakly against the pall of lingering shadows. The priests, shaken and grief-stricken, fell to their knees, tears tracing paths in the dust of their despair. Ra, now weary and wounded, took to the skies once more, his heart heavy with the weight of failure. With Apep retreating to the depths, the world was momentarily safe, but the serpent's promise lingered like a storm cloud on the horizon. Chaos was not vanquished, it was merely waiting, plotting its revenge. And as Ra soared through the heavens, he knew this was but a prelude to a greater battle, a battle that would test the very bonds of divinity and humanity. In the quiet moments before dawn, Ra vowed to return, stronger and more resolute, to fight for the light, both for himself and for the mortal souls who had believed in him. The sun would rise again, but the cost of that light would require sacrifices that would echo through eternity. And thus began the legend of the Serpent's return, where gods and mortals would unite in a quest for redemption, honor, and the ultimate struggle against the darkness that sought to consume all. As dawn broke hesitantly over Kemet, the earth remained steeped in mourning. Ra, the once mighty sun god, now hovered in a somber silence, his golden feathers dulled by grief. The whispers of the people reached him like a mournful breeze, a chorus of despair that tugged at his heart. Pharaoh Khufu, taken by the serpent, they lamented, their voices quaking with fear of the shadows that threatened to wrap around their lives. Yet deep within the sanctum of his soul, a fervor ignited. Ra knew the battle against Apep was far from over. He was the guardian of the sun, the embodiment of light, and no serpent could snuff out his fire. Determined to reclaim the radiance of his people, Ra summoned the winds, gathering them in swirling currents that would carry his will across the heavens. Gather the celestial council, he thundered, sending ripples across the fabric of the cosmos. We must unify the divine forces if we are to vanquish Apep once and for all. In the celestial realm, gods and goddesses paused in response to Ra's summons, their attention drawn to the unwavering spirit of the sun. Isis, adorned in her robes of shimmering gold, stepped forward from the assembly. Ra, you mourn the loss, but you must channel that grief into strength, she urged, her gentle voice piercing the veil of sorrow that enshrouded him. The balance of light and dark must be restored, and we must stand united. Maat, the goddess of truth and justice, raised her hand, her feathered crown glimmering in the light. We will not let Apep's chaos reign. We must remember the power of unity. Together, we can forge a path to redemption. With a nod of gratitude, Ra acknowledged his formidable allies. Yes, unity is our strength, but we will need mortal champions to carry our will upon the earth. The nexus between our realms grows fragile. The time to act is now. Thus began the celestial quest for heroes, a summons to the bravest mortals whose hearts still pulsed with the hope of light. Across the expanse of Kemet, the gods sent forth visions into the dreams of chosen warriors, igniting within them the fire of destiny. In the village of Thebes, a young warrior named Anubis dreamt of golden fields, radiant lions, and the echo of a voice that resonated deep within his spirit. Rise, Anubis, your fate intertwines with the gods. You are called to fight the darkness. The dream burned brightly in his mind, awakening a resolve he had yet to discover. He was but a humble soldier, yet visions of glory ignited an inferno within him. Meanwhile, a fierce huntress named Nefertari, known for her unmatched skill with the bow, felt the winds of change sweep through her village. The call of the gods electrified her veins, a longing for purpose tugged at her heart. I shall answer this call, she vowed, her eyes reflecting the fiery determination that burned like a sun within her. The serpent shall not swallow the light. With the sun setting in the west and the full moon rising in the east, Ra gathered the chosen ones in a sacred glade under the shimmering stars. Anubis, Nefertari, and others came forth, drawn together not by destiny alone but by the shared bond of hope. The air crackled with energy as Ra descended to meet them, his divine presence illuminating the darkness surrounding them. "Brave souls, you stand before me as the embodiments of courage," Ra proclaimed, his voice reverberating through the night. "Apep's chaos has cast a shadow upon our world, and it is you who must bear the light of our fight. Together, we will reclaim what has been lost." The warriors knelt before him, each feeling the gravity of the moment. Anubis, his heart racing with purpose, spoke first. "Great Ra, guide us, and we shall fight with every ounce of our being. We shall not falter." Nefertari shot her fist into the air, her voice fierce and unwavering. "Let us wield our weapons as symbols of hope. Together, we shall face the serpent and hold the line against darkness." Ra bestowed upon them gifts of divine power, a radiant spear brimming with the light of the sun for Anubis, and a bow infused with celestial arrows for Nefertari, each weapon a beacon against despair. Yet, as the warriors accepted their gifts, Ra's expression turned grave. "Though you now wield divine power, know this, the path ahead will be fraught with peril. Apep is cunning and relentless. He will strike where you least expect. Prepare for the trials that await, as every victory bears a cost." With that, the warriors prepared to embark upon their quest, the fires of determination burning in their hearts. They marched through the desolate lands of Kemet, a tapestry of golden sands and crumbling temples, each step echoing with the weight of hope. But as they drew closer to the heart of darkness, a sense of foreboding settled in the air. At the edge of the abyss of Apep, a chasm that twisted and writhed with obscurity, the group halted. The air was thick with dread, and the shadows danced hungrily, luring them into chaos. As they peered into the abyss, a chilling voice emerged from the depths, echoing like a cruel lullaby. "Foolish mortals, you dare challenge the very essence of chaos. I am Apep, the untamed, the inevitable." The serpent's voice slithered through the air, vibrating with malice and taunting laughter. "You are but feeble lights, destined to be snuffed out." Ra's champions stood resolute against the tide of darkness, but fear began to creep into their hearts. Anubis' voice broke through the silence, steady and firm. "We may be mortal, but we carry the weight of the gods. We will not yield." With a roar, Nefertari notched an arrow and aimed it towards the abyss. "Let your chaos tremble at the might of our resolve." She released the arrow, and it soared through the air, illuminating the darkness with a brilliant glow before crashing into the void. The light exploded, revealing glimpses of shadowy figures lurking in the depths. The serpent hissed, recoiling in anger as the darkness began to writhe. "You cannot defeat me. I shall consume the light and plunge your world into eternal night." As the shadows coiled and twisted, manifestations of Apep's chaos erupted from the ground, nightmarish creatures forged from despair, born to test the hero's strength. They lunged at Anubis and his companions, their grotesque forms wreathed in darkness. Each creature bore the faces of those lost to the void, reminders of the stakes at play. "Fight, fight for the light." Anubis shouted, his spear igniting with brilliance as he plunged it into the nearest creature. The moment it struck, a wave of divine energy surged forth, cutting the creature in half and sending the remnants scattering like ashes. Nefertari unleashed a flurry of arrows, each one blooming with luminescence as it pierced through the shadows. "We are not alone. With every arrow, we reclaim our hope," she cried, her determination fueling the brilliance of her shots. The struggle intensified, the air thick with the scent of chaos and the sounds of clashing light and dark. The heroes fought valiantly, their hearts entwined in a shared purpose, but the darkness surged like a tide, seeking to overwhelm them. Just as despair began to seep into their hearts, Ra's light flickered above them, a beacon shining through the storm. "You are not alone. Draw upon the strength of your bond," he roared, his golden wings descending above the battlefield, casting away shadows. With renewed vigor, the warriors rallied. They fought side by side, the bond between them igniting a flame that blazed brighter than any darkness. With each defeat of the creatures birthed from chaos, Apep's laughter turned to fury, echoing through the abyss. "Curse you, mortals, you shall not prevail." Apep roared, writhed with anger. "I shall unleash my true power." Suddenly, the ground began to tremble, and a massive wave of darkness surged forth from the abyss. A tempest spawned from the very essence of chaos. Anubis and Nefertari exchanged a glance, their resolve unwavering. Together, they shouted in unison, their voices harmonizing as they focused their strength. Ra's light surged through them, amplifying their power until it burst forth in a brilliant wave, counteracting Apep's chaotic tide. As the two forces collided, light and darkness intertwined in a cataclysmic explosion, an epic battle that would resonate through eternity. But even as they stood united, Anubis felt a creeping fear settle in his heart. This is only a momentary victory. Apep's darkness will return. Nefertari nodded, sweat glistening on her brow. Then we must prepare for the next battle, for the war against chaos has only just begun. With a final surge of light, they pushed back against the serpent, forcing Apep back into the abyss, but the battle was far from over. As they caught their breath, Ra's voice echoed in their minds, a reminder of their purpose. The victory against Apep's monstrous minions echoed through the abyss, but the heroes of Ra knew in their hearts that the battle was a mere prelude to the storm awaiting them. They stood amid the remnants of chaos, their souls ignited by the light of purpose yet tempered by the burdens of destiny. Anubis, his spear still aglow with the flicker of divine fire, looked toward the swirling darkness that lingered at the edge of the abyss. "We have pushed him back, but he is relentless," Anubis declared, his voice resolute yet strained. "We cannot rest, not until we sever the bond that ties Apep to this realm." Nefertari, her bow poised and ready, nodded in agreement. "He will return, and when he does, we must be prepared to face his true form. The serpent is cunning, and he will strike where we least expect." With resolve ignited, they turned their eyes to the horizon, where the sun began to rise, its golden rays spilling forth like molten metal, igniting the sands of Kemet. Ra, watching from the heavens, felt the bond between his chosen warriors strengthen as they prepared for what lay ahead. He descended upon them, wings outstretched, casting a luminous glow that illuminated the darkness around them. "You have fought valiantly, my champions," Ra praised, his voice resonating with the warmth that enveloped them. "But the true battle is yet to come. Apep will not rest until he has consumed the light, and in that darkness, he will find his greatest strength. We will not let him." Nefertari proclaimed, her determination echoing in her voice. "We will fight until the very end." Ra nodded, the flicker of admiration shining in his eyes. "Then you must seek the heart of Apep. Deep within the abyss lies the sacred stone, the Eye of Ra, which binds the essence of chaos to this realm. If you can secure it, you may weaken the serpent and disrupt his hold over the land." Anubis felt a surge of courage as they absorbed Ra's words. "We will find the Eye of Ra and end this nightmare once and for all." As they prepared to venture deeper into the darkened chasm, the air around them thickened, and a chilling sensation coursed through their veins. The shadows pulsed, alive with the malevolence of Apep, and a low, mocking laugh echoed throughout the abyss. "You think you can take my heart?" Apep's voice slithered through the darkness, wrapping around them like a serpent's coil. "Foolish mortals, I shall feast upon your light, and when I do, your despair will echo through eternity." Without warning, the ground trembled, and dark tendrils erupted from the shadows, reaching for the warriors. Anubis reacted instantly, thrusting his spear forward, its brilliance cutting through the darkness. "We will not yield to your chaos." The battle erupted anew as Apep unleashed a torrent of nightmarish creatures, twisted forms of despair and darkness that bore the faces of those lost to the void. Nefertari released a flurry of arrows, each one igniting the air with radiant light as they exploded against the oncoming tide. "Together, we stand as one," she cried, her voice ringing through the chaos. As they fought side by side, their bond deepened with every blow. Anubis felt the weight of his purpose, the lives of his people resting on his shoulders. He could hear the cries of those who had suffered under Apep's reign, their mournful echoes urging him forward. Suddenly, the colossal figure emerged from the depths of monstrous manifestation of Apep, formed from shadows and chaos, its scales glistening like a starless night. The serpent's eyes burned with malevolence, twin embers of darkness that bore down upon the warriors. "Your light will extinguish." Apep roared, lunging forward with a speed that sent tremors through the earth. "I shall devour your hope." With nimble grace, Anubis dodged the serpent's strike, rolling to the side. He rallied, shouting, "Nefertari, now aim for the eyes." Nefertari drew back her bowstring, steadying her breath as she focused on the serpent's burning gaze. The air crackled with energy as she released the arrow, its brilliance soaring through the darkness. The arrow struck true, embedding itself deep within Apep's left eye, causing the serpent to howl in agony. "Pain, you dare inflict pain upon me?" Apep screamed, his voice reverberating through the chasm. "You will pay for this." The serpent thrashed violently, its tail slashing through the air like a whip, sending shockwaves that threatened to topple the heroes off their feet. Anubis steadied himself, determination coursing through his veins as he shouted, "We must press on, we cannot falter now." As they fought against the onslaught, Anubis felt a sudden surge of inspiration. "We must divide our strength, Nefertari. Distract him while I search for the Eye of Ra." Nefertari nodded, her heart pounding with adrenaline. "Go, I will keep him occupied." Anubis sprinted toward the heart of the abyss, the flickering light of his spirit guiding him through the swirling darkness. He could feel Apep's presence clawing at the edges of his mind, whispering taunts and threats that sought to undermine his resolve. "You are just a soldier, the Serpentist. You cannot hope to defeat me." But Anubis pushed forward, the memories of those lost fueling his every step. He could feel the warmth of Ra's light guiding him, infusing him with strength. Before him, a faint glow broke through the shadows, illuminating a cavernous chamber where the Eye of Ra shimmered, a radiant gemstone pulsing with divine energy. Finally, he breathed, reaching for the eye, but as his fingers brushed its surface, dark tendrils shot forth from the shadows, ensnaring him. Apep's laughter echoed, the shadows swirling around him like a tempest. "You think you can wield the power of the gods? You are but a mortal." In a moment of despair, Anubis felt the weight of the Serpent's words. But then the memories of his fallen comrades flooded his mind, of those who had fought against the darkness, who had given their lives for the light. He drew upon their strength, igniting a flame within. "No," he shouted, breaking free from the tendril's grasp. "I fight not just for myself, but for all who have suffered under your reign." With newfound determination, he seized the Eye of Ra. The moment he grasped it, a surge of divine energy coursed through him, illuminating the darkness that surrounded him. The eye pulsed with power, resonating with Ra's light as it connected him to the very essence of the sun. "Ra, lend me your strength," Anubis shouted, and in response, the skies above crackled with energy. Ra's voice echoed through the cosmos. "You are the bearer of light, Anubis. Use that power to banish the darkness." With a fierce roar, Anubis emerged from the shadows, the Eye of Ra held high, radiating a blinding light that washed over the battlefield. Nefertari, still locked in combat with Apep, glanced back, her eyes widening in awe. "Anubis is the Eye!" With the power of the Eye surging through him, Anubis felt invincible. Now, Nefertari, together. The two heroes converged, their powers melding into a single force as they faced the Serpent, whose anger reached a fever pitch. "You dare challenge me?" Apep bellowed, his form twisting in fury. "I will crush you." But Anubis and Nefertari stood firm, united in purpose. "This ends now," they shouted in unison, channeling their combined strength into a brilliant beam of light that surged toward Apep. The moment the light struck, the Serpent recoiled in agony, its darkness unraveling before the radiance of Ra. "No, I cannot be vanquished." Apep screamed, but it was too late. The light enveloped him, consuming the chaos, banishing him to the depths from which he had risen. As the last remnants of Apep's darkness faded, the abyss trembled, and silence fell upon the battlefield. Anubis and Nefertari stood amidst the remnants of chaos, their hearts racing as they beheld the dawn breaking over Kemet. "Is it over?" Nefertari gasped, her breath hitching with disbelief. Anubis looked at the eye, still glowing in his grasp, and felt a sense of peace wash over him. "For now, yes, but we must remain vigilant. Darkness will always seek to return." As the sun rose, casting golden rays across the desert, Ra's voice reverberated through their hearts. "You have fought with honor, my champions. Together, you have wielded the light against chaos, and your bond has forged a path to salvation." With a shared glance of determination, Anubis and Nefertari knew their journey was far from over. They had faced Apep, but the battle against darkness would continue, a relentless struggle that would echo through eternity. Their hearts burned with the promise of hope, and as the dawn broke over Kemet, the golden rays of the sun spilled across the horizon, casting shadows that danced playfully against the remnants of chaos. Anubis and Nefertari stood shoulder to shoulder, hearts still racing from their confrontation with Apep. The weight of their victory hung in the air, heavy with the promise of peace yet tinged with the bitterness of loss. Yet even as the sun ascended, illuminating the world with its vibrant glow, a sense of foreboding loomed over the land. The Eye of Ra, held aloft by Anubis, pulsed softly, its power intertwining with the very essence of the sun. "What if it returns?" Nefertari whispered, her voice a fragile thread woven through the fabric of the morning. "What if Apep is merely lying in wait?" Anubis, still feeling the adrenaline of their battle course through his veins, turned to her, his brow furrowing. "We must remain vigilant, Nefertari. Victory against Apep cannot lead to complacency. We have seen the depths of chaos, and it is a cunning foe." He clenched the eye, its warmth radiating through him, a reminder of their purpose and the lives at stake. The skies shifted as a gust of wind swept through the glade, carrying whispers of ancient prophecies. Ra's voice echoed in their minds, a sonorous lullaby that rekindled their spirits. You have conquered the Serpent, but darkness does not yield easily. In the shadows lay the remnants of chaos, and Apep's essence lingers still. As the weight of Ra's words settled upon them, a fateful tremor reverberated through the earth, and the horizon darkened. From the very fabric of the light, swirling storm clouds formed, dark and ominous, blocking the sun's brilliance. What is happening? Nefertari gasped, instinctively reaching for her bow. He has returned. Emerging from the tempest, Apep materialized anew, his form now larger and more menacing than before, dark tendrils snaking from his elongated body. Foolish mortals, he bellowed, his voice reverberating like rolling thunder. You think you have vanquished me? You merely delayed my vengeance. The abyssal chaos surged forth from Apep, swirling around him like a cloak of darkness. Anubis and Nefertari steeled themselves, drawing upon their powers, the light of the Eye of Ra illuminating their surroundings. We will face you again, Serpent. Anubis proclaimed, his spear held firm, shimmering with celestial energy. This time, we are ready. With a roar, Apep lunged forward, his massive jaws snapping with ferocity, aiming to swallow the champions of light whole. Nefertari quickly notched an arrow, and with a steady aim, released it into the charging maw. The arrow struck true, exploding with brilliance upon impact, illuminating the darkness, but Apep merely snarled, unfazed. Your light is simply a flicker in the vastness of my chaos. Anubis rallied, his voice steady and commanding. We face him together. He charged forward, spear glowing brightly, channeling his will into a shimmering beam of light that sliced through the shadows. He aimed for the Serpent's heart, a radiant strike meant to sever the link between Apep and the chaos he wielded. Apep twisted, coiling his form to counter Anubis' attack. Your bravery is commendable, but futile. With a flick of his tail, he sent a shockwave that knocked Anubis off his feet, sending him sprawling against the rocky ground. You cannot defeat that which is eternal. Though pain shot through him, Anubis pushed himself back to his feet, determination igniting his spirit. But we can challenge it, he shouted, raising the Eye of Ra high. For every moment you exist, we will rise against you. Light radiated from the eye, pulsating like a heartbeat, filling the air with a brilliance that momentarily held back Apep's darkness. Nefertari rushed to Anubis' side, her heart racing. We need to draw upon our bond. Ra's light flows through us, she urged, her resolve unwavering. As they stood shoulder to shoulder, a surge of power coursed through their bodies. They felt the essence of the sun intertwining with their spirits, filling them with warmth and strength. Together, they shouted in unison, channeling their combined energy into a single, radiant beam. The light surged forth, illuminating the shadows around them. Apep roared in fury, thrashing against the light as it began to push him back. No, this cannot be. He spat, his serpentine form wreathed in chaos. But as the beam struck Apep, darkness erupted in a violent torrent. The Serpent's thrashing intensified as he fought against the light, twisting and turning, attempting to break free. Nefertari and Anubis felt the connection between them strengthen, their hearts beating as one. We cannot falter, Anubis urged, his voice rising above the chaos. Our hope is our weapon. As the struggle continued, a terrible realization dawned upon them. The Eye, we must use it to break his hold over the chaos. Nefertari shouted, her eyes wide with understanding. It is the key to his power. Anubis nodded, swallowing the fear that threatened to creep into his mind. I will distract him. You hold the Eye close and channel its power. He took a step forward, determination etched across his features. Together, we will sever his bond. With a fierce battle cry, Anubis charged toward Apep, his spear glowing brighter than ever. The Serpent, sensing the threat, turned his gaze upon him, fury etched across his monstrous face. You think you can challenge me alone? I will swallow you whole. Then try. Anubis held himself at Apep, the spear aimed directly for the Serpent's heart. This ends here. In response, Apep unleashed a torrent of darkness, tendrils lashing out towards Anubis. The warrior ducked and rolled beneath the attack, narrowly avoiding the strike. Now, Nefertari, he bellowed, urging her to draw upon the Eye of Ra. Nefertari gripped the eye tightly, her heart pounding as she felt its power resonate within her. With the strength of the sun, I command you, chaos be banished, she shouted, focusing the energy of the eye. Light poured from it, forming a radiant barrier that enveloped Anubis and surged toward Apep. The beam of light struck the Serpent with an intensity that shook the very foundations of the world. Apep recoiled, howling in agony, the darkness around him splintering as the light blazed against his form. This cannot be. I am chaos incarnate, he screamed, the shadows beginning to dissipate. Your chaos ends today. Anubis roared, driving his spear deeper into the serpent's heart, the eye of Ra pulsating in rhythm with the light that surrounded them. Feel the weight of our resolve. With one final cry, Apep thrashed violently, attempting to break free, but it was too late. The light surged forth, consuming the darkness, unraveling Apep's form until the shadows disintegrated into nothingness. As the echoes of Apep's final roar faded into silence, Anubis and Nefertari stood amidst the remnants of chaos, the air around them shimmering with the afterglow of victory. They shared a glance, breathless and awestruck, a silent understanding passing between them. "We did it," Nefertari whispered, her voice trembling with disbelief. "We faced the darkness, then won." Anubis nodded, his heart swelling with pride. "But it is but one battle in a war that will never cease. We must remain ever vigilant, for chaos will always seek to rise again." With the dawn fully breaking overhead, they witnessed the sun illuminating the land once more, casting away the shadows of despair. Ra's voice resonated in their hearts, a soothing balm in the aftermath of their struggle. "You have proven your worth, brave souls. The light of the sun shines brightly upon you, and together you have forged a bond that will echo through eternity." As the weight of the moment settled, both warriors felt the pulse of destiny thrumming beneath their skin, a reminder that while darkness may have been vanquished, the journey was far from over. The world needed guardians, and they would be the light that stood against the tides of chaos. With the eye of Ra radiating between them, Anubis and Nefertari set forth, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They were heroes carved from light, protectors of hope, standing against the darkness with courage unwavering. As they walked hand in hand towards the horizon, the sun glimmering with renewed vigor, they knew the path would be fraught with trials, but united, they could face any storm. Their spirits soared with the promise of tomorrow, where light and darkness would eternally dance, a mythological tale waiting to unfold in the annals of time.